this portion of the show, the men will be showing off their individual taste in sportswear. And now we welcome to the stage our special guest star, Mr. Casper, as he announces the contestants' sportswear.
Choo-choo! If you've ever met contestant number 1, Mikey Stevens before, this is one thing that pops into your head. He is basically Peter Parker himself, swinging around from city and Ponte since there's so many tall buildings. At least they're tall to Mikey. If you've ever seen a wild, hungry shark running around the school, it's probably Mikey looking for some dinner. His favorite time to come out is when there's a pepper rally and a plethora of food options. Chances are you will not see Mikey at the beach soaking his beautiful tan skin under the sun. He doesn't like the sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating. Some of Mikey's favorite foods are steak, fried rice, eggs, and that makes sense because whenever I look at Mikey from behind, I can't tell if it's him or Kim Kardashian. A good idea would be to give apples away from Mikey. For life's sake, Mikey spends his free time becoming one with the Force. Everyone must also know with great power comes great responsibility. Next up is contestant number 2, Nolan Parlett. Don't let that contestant number fool you. Nolan will always be number 1. If Nolan is ever ignoring your tests, he is probably attempting to flex his absurdly ginormous quads in Anytime Fitness mirrors. Many people consider Nolan as the dad of the group, for he never fails to make any situation extremely awkward with his awful dad jokes. Despite this flaw, Nolan has many great qualities and talents. One being that he has amazing hula hoop skills, as you can see. When he's not drooling over himself at the gym, he's grinding and hula hooping. Those hips really do not lie. Nolan's most favorite thing is to perform his splits at the goal cage as he saves shot after shot. However, a lot of people say his dance skills are even better than his lacrosse moves. Even though he is committed to a D1 school for lacrosse, that's besides the point. Lastly, Nolan would love to mention that the judges, his mom, Teresa Parlett, works for Ponte High School just like you all. And you know what they say, teachers always stick together and would do anything for each other. Thank you, contestant number 2, Nolan. Contestant number 3, Dylan Dean, is commonly referred to as Dino Dean. Due to his elongated neck and brontosaurus-like stature, Dylan spends most of his time playing lacrosse, and while he may seem like your typical lax boy, well, he is. On the weekends, you can find Dylan tying up boats on the docks at PBO in his spirits. He spends a lot of time outside on the water, which is how he maintains such a nice, crisp tan. Dylan has always been known to be great with the ladies. Some might even say he just has a way with women. Maybe it's his Justin Bieber-like bowl cut, or the way he moves like Jagger when he dances. Dylan would like to thank the boys for all the fun memories they have had made together, specifically after 1 in the morning. He would also like all of you to remember that D-Y-L-A-N is the correct way to spell Dylan. Lastly, Dylan wants his mom to know, I know you're sad I'm leaving for college, but as soon as Jordan Belfort once said, I'm not leaving, I'll be home once a month for more money. Love you. Contestant number 4, Oliver DeVries, finds joy in devoting his time to crafting the finest yearbook in PBHS history. Although he's recently discovered the only reward is the school-provided MacBook, once Oliver steps foot out of the Shark Tank and gracefully makes his way to his spot in senior lot, where his car will most definitely be backed in because he takes so much pride in his efficient parking methods. He can typically be spotted betting on the Georgia Bulldogs, taking money from his friends at the card table, or fishing. Now, Oliver may not be able to catch the biggest fish, but he always has the biggest catch. Oliver is a real go-getter until it becomes to the folder of homework sitting on his desk at 10:30 p.m. His charming smile and persuasive ways with words have allowed for him to make up for his lack of homework completion throughout school. Although Oliver was gifted with such height, he will not be going directly to the MBA post-graduation, as many of you would assume. Rather, he will be continuing to take all of his friends' money at the card table while still trying to obtain that big catch. Contestant number 5, Russell Lucas, loves nothing more than jamming to Oliver the Chipmunk soundtrack on his way to school. He is an ambitious scholar and is even being recognized by J.K. Rowling herself for finishing half a Harry Potter book in the span of over a year. After school, Russell can be seen making the rigorous 10-mile hike to White Lot. There, his horrifying parking job can be served by his car somehow being over 3 different lines. After catching airtime on the Powell Valley Bridge, Russell speeds down to work and engaging in fulfilling shift at Valley Smoke, where he can be seen avidly avoiding work, talking poorly of customers, and suddenly dropping his voice 6 octaves when answering the phone. Russell thoroughly enjoys many manly things, including but not limited to Taylor Swift and her entire discography, the color pink, and a perfect nose. Speaking of noses, can we take a moment to appreciate Russell's unrealistically flat nose that miraculously spawned over last summer? Lastly, Russell wants everyone to know how happy and grateful he is everyone to be out for him, supporting him and only him tonight. He would like the ladies in the audience to refrain from taking pictures of him solely due to the fact that he plays for the other team. And we would like to thank his family for giving him a body only comparable to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Although he had to evade the paparazzi, contestant number 6, Franco, willingly gave up hours of his extremely valuable time to make an appearance here. He wants everyone to know that autographs will be given out after the show. Connor can often be seen wearing sunglasses inside, supporting his untouchable status. With the physique of a Greek god, he intimidates anyone who dares to be in his presence. He insists that he has never slept because he is always too focused on obtaining the bread. Connor has the reputation at local basketball courts where he will give buckets to anyone in sight. He also gambles as a major hobby and claims that he has never lose when he's wearing his infamous poker chain that he found in the women's jewelry store at Target. Connor's college decision is still up for grabs as he is waiting to see how many offers he gets from his YMCA basketball season, but also is not opposed to receiving calls directly from Nick Saban. Thank you, contestant number 6, Connor. Standing 6'5", 190 pounds, contestant number 7, Will Henry. Yeah, he may be tall and skinny, but his 52-inch vertical and 4.2-second 40-yard dash make up for it. If you know Will, aka Mina, his Xbox username, he would know that he is even better than all of his friends at pretty much everything. Whether it be Xbox, and even sometimes Xbox. He always comes out on top. If If you're ever lost and need to find Will, he's probably out at the beach fishing and displaying his remarkable physique to all the pelicans and seagulls. Some compare him to Matt Herford because he has unparalleled IQ, and others refer to him as the young MJ, referencing his elite basketball skills. Will, a man amongst boys on the chessboard, is forced to be reckoned with. His double knight to queen bishop trap is one of the most lethal moves ever to be recorded in chess history. Mina will do anything to get a good grade as he studies for countless hours and attends every single study session before, during, and after school. Ask his teachers. They know it. They can't get rid of him. Anyways, Will had a blast writing this and now suffers from an astronomically large ego. Thank you. Contestant number 6. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's contestant number 8, Evan Fleischer. On any given morning, you can either find Evan scoring a wicked cat funk with Coach Conroy, or dirty Vulcan on chicken and waffles at Metro Diner. Evan's favorite part of the day is seeing Miss Johnson's hair, at least what's left of it, turn gray after time he walks into his room. His biggest pet peeves are when people leave the movie theater during the credits of a Marvel movie, and when people say that Domino's makes the best pizza. As president of the National Chinese Honor Society, Evan claims that he can speak 3 languages: English, Chinese, and as Margot Robbie once told him, the language of love. Specifically, Evan is known for his sparkling blue eyes and his luscious, juicy thighs. Hey, you in the blue shirt, eyes up. Some of Evan's favorite things include extra toasty Cheez-Its and the Jaguars, even though they're awful and Trevor Lawrence throws interceptions. Evan is forever thankful for the memories he has created with the Fintastic crew, and he also wants to compliment the judges on how absolutely scrumptious they all look this evening. Thank you, contestant number 8. Up next, we have number 9 on stage, but number 1 in your hearts, Jake Rice. Jake spends his days staring at himself in the mirror, both in and out of the gym, on his journey to achieve the quad father. However, Jake's love for running in circles has left him with a body similar to his childhood hero, Flat Stanley. Besides, he would like the crowd to know he considers himself lucky to have his temple of a body in order to enable him to center himself both on this unicycle and in spirit. Much to many surprise, his cool, calm, and collected demeanor is occasionally broken by disappointing football games that he seems a little too invested in, and consequently, his Venmo requests spike by a man named Mike. Jake would like to take the rest of this time to thank himself on behalf of anyone who has had class with him or has had the pleasure of teaching him. Thank you, Jake, for never leaving more than 15-second silences. Your constant talking was far from an annoyance nor distraction, but rather the light of this dark world we live in today. This light that he illuminated in the reason for his and many others' success. So please hold back those tears as he approaches the finale of his high school career, and some may say the peak of his life. Thank you. Contestant number 10, Dylan Rishsinghani, very well may be the most perfect human on the planet Earth. From his bronze skin to his luscious silky locks and his perfectly toned muscular physique, there is no evidence to say otherwise. While you may know him as Dylan, many know him as Gupta. This stems from his striking resemblance to a Diary of a Wimpy Kid star, Shigrad Gupta, his lifelong idol. When he's not in school, acing his 8 AP classes, Dylan enjoys nothing more than spending his free time getting his tan on and jamming out on his sitar at the beach or catching victory royales with the boys. Dylan hopes to travel the world one day, not to see the world, but so the world can see him. Dylan wants to thank all the boys for a great high school experience, and as the great Michael Scott once said, boys on the side? I disagree. Let's hear it for the boys. Dylan wants everyone to know that contradicting what you previously heard, the correct way to spell Dylan is D-I-L-L-O-N. And float like a Cadillac, sting like a Beamer. Thank you. When we first learned that Tucker Dinberg was entering Mr Fantastic, we had our concerns. Is letting someone so attractive, this funny, and this charismatic unfair to the other contestants? When we raised these concerns to him, he replied knowingly, saying that we should keep him in as his skills may rub off on the other contestants. If you have never had the life-changing experience of meeting Tucker, you should try and change that. He lives his life by one and one quote only: low effort, high results. And never fails to abide by it. Whether that be mathematically optimizing how much homework he cannot do, or making his mentor write most of his bio for him, you may find him tossing the disc out at Davis Park at 4 p.m. every Friday. Yes, this is an invitation. I'm usually by myself. Or in front of his dresser every morning trying to remember if today is actually Friday. Tucker would like to thank this opportunity to thank everyone for putting up with his toes for 4 years. And also his gambling buddies for placing him in crippling debt. Thank you, contestant number 11. Contestant number 12, Zach Cody, has no problem when it comes to hard work. He'll lay right down next to it and take a nap. He tends to resort to a tactic he learned as known as a kid as procrastination. You can usually assume finding him grinding out school assignments just minutes before they are due. Zach thrives in stressful environments. As a matter of fact, he wrote his bio the day that they were due. Zach is very competitive. He strives to be the best, no matter what it is. He usually can be seen routing up his friends on the football field or snatching ankles on the basketball court. He'd like to call himself a freak athlete, but doesn't know if he exactly fits the description based on his shortage of height. Zach likes to argue he is adding that 5'9" really just rounds up to 6 foot. Maybe his hormones are procrastinating too. Zach, also referred to his ZK Metcalf, tends to be seen in the gym hogging up multiple machines while on his phone for the majority of the workout. Zach's cockiness and tough exterior make it difficult for people to understand the real sophisticated underlying personality that he has. He can commonly be seen reading the scores off an ESPN app on his phone. Zach intends to go to FSU, Fun Starts With Us University, and study, maybe. Thank you, contestant number 12. Let me introduce you to contestant number 13, Evan LaPrade. To start off, Evan wants to clarify how to properly pronounce his last name because Mr. Casper definitely messed it up. Often people pronounce it LaPrade, but no, his last name should not be pronounced like parade in Spanish. The correct way to say it is LaPra. Once it starts sounding like some bougie clothing line, you may know you got it right. Now that we got that out of the way, here are some things about your favorite contestant. You may even know Evan as a kid who walks around the school always wearing a flannel. And he's perfectly okay with that because it's a known fact that flannels are the most versatile piece of clothing ever. Anyone that tries to say otherwise is just jealous of his sophisticated style and couldn't pull it off anyway. During his free time, you can often catch Evan at the gym getting and last, but certainly features and his beloved Teddy. Much like a plate of Hawaiian rolls, there is nothing Andre wouldn't do for his Teddy. On a a typical day, you can find Andre betting 50-cent hands on any card game imaginable. Or you won't find him at all. He is probably fast asleep, along with being able to hold at least one tennis ball in each hand. Andre can also beat any challenger in every hand-related combat known to man. Most notably, Andre holds an impressive 3-0 record as an amateur slapboxer and is anxiously waiting for his next victim to present itself. When Andre isn't busy fighting off the lizards his mom is so deathly afraid of, he enjoys standing at the edge of his driveway, ripping fat tooties at anyone who may threaten his friendly neighborhood. Andre would like to give a special shout out to the Backyardigans for being his greatest role models, and he would like to thank Miss Meyer for being the GOAT. Andre cordially invites you to join him at Owl's Pizza for a celebratory dinner after he wins this competition.